Welcome to another tutorial. This is a D2 team that is in the job change period, so rollover has not occurred yet. So we will not have any recruits showing up on our recruiting menu or recruiting summary. So it's still as was when the season concluded. In this tutorial, I want to show you what happens when you try to change a player's position after the fifth game of the season. As you can see, this team is 5-8, so it's well beyond the fifth game of the season, but we can at least get an idea of what his values would have been given a position change were available to make. This is his individual player change. You get there simply by player page, I should say. You get there by simply clicking on his hyperlink. These green numbers indicate growth for this season in that particular rating. The red, of course, is a decline in that particular rating. What we want to try to do is the position change. And when you click on the position change tab, quarterbacks can play practically any position except for in the trenches. You don't see offensive linemen, defensive linemen there, but they can be converted to any of these. Now, granted, you convert a quarterback to defensive back or linebacker, chances are his tackling is not that great. In this guy's case, you can see it's a 17, so do you really want to move him to defense? I would not. But anyway, let's say we want to move him to a running back. Two things will be shown after the fifth game of the season. One of those things occurs regardless of what game it is, and that is his value changes for his particular ratings. As you can see, if we move that quarterback to a running back and you do what we just did here, regardless if it's the preseason, the first game, the last game, whatever, you will see those numbers change. After the fifth game of the season, what you will see is this warning stating that you cannot change positions after first 5 games of the active season. But it gives you an idea of where his numbers would fall or come out to if you were to make a position change. If you move him to tight end, those numbers are going to change a little bit. As a quarterback moving to tight end, you would expect his speed to increase, which it does. So there's kind of information there that before you click the "Are you sure?" change button, as would be available if this was prior to the fifth game of the season, you would see the player actually change and carry those new ratings with him into that new position. As far as IQ, if we look up here, his IQ doesn't change. If he's going from a quarterback to a running back, the offensive IQ values do not change. The defensive ones will change because he is not a defensive player right now. So when you click back on formation after he has been changed, that's when you'll see his defensive values. Again, he's not a defensive player now, so those defensive values are not shown. That's one of the things that you really would like to see. It's not necessarily a deal breaker, if you will, but it's one of the things that would be nice to see if you do intend to change an offensive guy to a defensive guy or vice versa. So that's a little bit on the position change. The other thing I wanted to bring out to your attention is we're going to actually record an individual, what his values are as a freshman, because the higher the player is in his career, the more effect a position change has on his new ratings. And those effects are not to the good, they're to the bad. For instance, looking at a senior quarterback, if we were to try and change him to any other player, his numbers are going to fall through the floor. We can see he's got 48 speed, elusiveness, strength. Those are the ones we're looking at. So, 48 speed, 41 strength. Let's just look at those for right now. Not saying that those are core values that we need to pay attention to for the quarterback. Those are just some of the things I know will change, and they'll be pretty drastic compared to what we did with the freshman. So we'll hit the change tab. Let's make him a running back. And this time, instead of it being a 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 number change, you can see these big numbers. 23 for his game instinct, 29 here. His speed doesn't change, because that's one of the things where running back, wide receiver, quarterback, they're generally the same category when it comes to speed rating. As we mentioned previously with the other example, you move him to tight end, you're going to expect to see that speed rating go up. But again, these other values down here suffer some pretty big losses compared to what a freshman would experience. And that again is a senior. So we're going to record a freshman running back, Corey Rouse. And we're going to keep his values and then compare them to when he is a sophomore, which will be after rollover. And if we tried to do a position change, how much those numbers actually change. So let's go ahead and hit the position change button, or tab I should say, and we're going to change him to a wide receiver. Those two positions are relatively close. So we're going to, you see what those values are. And earlier on the senior quarterback, these numbers down here were your higher double-digit numbers. As I said, these are going to be in single digits. He is a freshman. So those are his values as a freshman. When the season rolls over, I'm going to go to this page and do the same thing with him being a sophomore. And what I anticipate that we'll see is, instead of a -8, it may be a 12 or a 13 here. Same with technique. Any number that are red, it's going to be a little bit higher, simply because he's now a year further into his career, and he's not going to be very receptive to a position change. That's just from a player aspect, but his elusiveness, technique, game instinct, those three generally suffer quite a bit the higher up you go. All right, so that's a little bit of a position change tutorial on what you can expect to see when you're making position changes.